After Jeff Beck's death, Johnny Depp sends a heartbreaking message to him. Johnny Depp has received a lot of attention in the past few years due to his legal dispute with his former wife Amber Heard. When the trial ended, Johnny started to tour as a musician with his good friend and one of the greatest guitarists in history, Jeff Beck. Unfortunately, Jeff passed away, and Johnny was deeply devastated and saddened by his death. Jeff was an important person in Johnny's life. He was always by Johnny's side, even during his most difficult times. He was not just a great musician, but also a great friend to Johnny. The actor was never shy about expressing his love and admiration for Jeff. What was the nature of the relationship between Johnny and Beck? How does Johnny feel about Beck now that the musician is gone? The British rock guitarist Jeff Beck passed away on January 10, 2023, at the age of 78 due to bacterial meningitis. He had recently completed a tour with Johnny Depp. His death was announced by his agent and family on his official Twitter account, along with a photograph of him on stage performing and wearing his signature shades. On behalf of his family, it's with deep and profound sadness that we share the news of Jeff Beck's passing. After suddenly contracting bacterial meningitis, he peacefully passed away yesterday. His family asks for privacy while they process this tremendous loss. The news of Jeff Beck's passing came shortly after he completed a tour with Johnny to promote their collaborative album 18, which has been nominated for several awards in the UK. Jeff and Johnny had developed a close friendship in recent years and were often seen together in public. Jeff left behind his wife Sandra, whom he married in 2005. Sandra also designed the album cover for 18, which featured pictures of Johnny and Jeff during their teenage years. Their new album was released on July 15, 2022 and had taken 3 years to make. On Jeff's official website, he said, "When Johnny and I started playing together, it really ignited our youthful spirit and creativity. We would joke about how we felt 18 again, so that just became the album title too." The album's first single, "This Is a Song for Miss Hedy Lamarr," is an original song by Johnny. Jeff commented saying, "I was blown away by it. That song is one of the reasons I asked him to make an album with me." Johnny also added, saying, "It's an extraordinary honor to play and write music with Jeff, one of the true greats, and someone I'm now privileged enough to call my brother." The post that accompanied the album release read, "Jeff Beck found a kindred spirit in Johnny Depp when the two met in 2016. They bonded quickly over cars and guitars and spent most of their time together trying to make each other laugh. At the same time, Beck's appreciation grew for Johnny Depp's serious songwriting skills and his ear for music." Jeff and Johnny first met in 2016, and their shared interest in guitars brought them closer. They decided to collaborate on an album in 2019, and over the years, their friendship grew stronger, with Johnny expressing how much Beck impacted him during a difficult period in his life. Jeff once said this about Johnny, "I haven't had another creative partner like him for ages. He was a major force on this record. I just hope people will take him seriously as a musician, because it's a hard thing for some people to accept that Johnny Depp can sing rock and roll." Johnny and Jeff have had a long-standing friendship, with Beck having appeared in a song with the Hollywood Vampires, a band formed by Depp, Alice Cooper, and Joe Perry in 2012. Johnny made news when he performed with Beck in England during the final stages of his defamation trial against his ex-wife Amber Heard. Johnny had always been very grateful for Jeff's friendship. Not only did Jeff provide support to Johnny during challenging times, but he also offered him a place to stay while they were on tour for months. Jeff treated Johnny like a brother and welcomed him into his family, treating him no differently than he would have treated a family member. Johnny shared this with Stevie Van Zandt in October 2022 in an interview, saying, "For me, Jeff, very simply and kindly, Jeff and his wife Sandra just took me into their house, and I lived with them for months and months and months. And then we went on to the first tour together. So for me, having had to deal with other things at the same time, once those things, are down the road and you drop into the tour, it's like you're home. You're home and you feel like home, like where I can actually be me." In an interview with Hollywood Authentic, Johnny also opened up about his friendship with Jeff and his wife Sandra. He said, "There's a couple who very much helped to keep me alive and sane and happy through the weirdness, and that's Jeff and Sandra. Once you've connected on some sort of level and you've become that tight, you practically don't have to say anything. It's an eyeball glance and you're both on the floor laughing." The profound friendship between Jeff and Johnny was one of mutual love and respect, and this was not only one-sided. Jeff also publicly acknowledged how much Johnny meant to him. Jeff recalled his first meeting with Johnny in 2016 when the actor appeared in one of Jeff's performances. In his gig at the Royal Albert Hall in 2022, Jeff shared with the audience their first meeting, saying, "He came knocking on my dressing room door about 5 years ago, and we haven't stopped laughing since." Johnny and Jeff not only performed together but also had some amusing and candid moments during interviews with various media outlets. Whenever they were interviewed together, both seemed relaxed and playful every time they shared their experiences. The relationship between Johnny and Jeff was something they both treasured. It was so valuable that they had a tour together for everyone to remember and look back on. It was even more touching when Johnny was there during Jeff's last days. Johnny was by Jeff's bedside shortly before he passed away and has been deeply affected by his death. His family announced the sad news on Twitter, along with a photo of the musician on stage with his signature sunglasses and guitar. A source told People about Jeff's final moment with Johnny, saying they had a really tight friendship. They were extremely close, and he got even closer over this past summer when they were touring together. Jeff's sickness came on really quickly and it all deteriorated rapidly the last couple of weeks. Johnny is still processing this news. He's devastated. Johnny and Jeff performed in Europe and the United States for their collaborative album. Friends and fellow musicians took to social media to remember the greatness and talent of the legendary guitarist. Mick Jagger tweeted a video clip of him and Jeff performing and wrote, "With the death of Jeff Beck, we have lost a wonderful man and one of the greatest guitar players in the world. We will all miss him so much." Led Zeppelin also tweeted saying, "His technique is unique. His imagination was apparently limitless. Jeff, I will miss you along with your millions of fans." Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi expressed his sadness over Jeff's passing, writing, "I was totally shocked to hear the very sad news of Jeff Beck's passing. Jeff was such a nice person and an outstanding, iconic, genius guitar player. There will never be another Jeff Beck. His playing was very special and distinctively brilliant. He will be missed. R.I.P. Jeff." Sir Rod Stewart also paid tribute to Jeff, saying, "Jeff Beck was on another planet. He took me and Ronnie Wood into the USA in the late 60s in his band, the Jeff Beck Group, and we haven't looked back since. He was one of the few guitarists who, when playing live, would actually listen to me, sing, and respond. Jeff, you were the greatest, my man. Thank you for everything. R.I.P." Gene Simmons tweeted, "Heartbreaking news to report the late, great Jeff Beck has sadly passed. No one played guitar like Jeff. Please get a hold of the first 2 Jeff Beck Group albums and behold greatness. R.I.P." Gene Simmons had always been a big fan of Jeff. In one of his interviews in 2017, he was asked to list down tracks that blew his mind, and he included Jeff's debut album, Truth, saying, "Even before Led Zeppelin and Cream, Beck took the blues and turned up the volume. But it wasn't just decibels. Beck was pushing the envelope in all sorts of directions. Nuanced little jazz licks that caught you off guard, sophisticated, delicate melodies." Jeff Beck first gained fame as a member of the Yardbirds before embarking on a solo career that incorporated elements of hard rock, jazz, funk, blues, and even opera. He was known for his improvisational skills, love of harmonics, and use of the whammy bar on his preferred guitar, the Fender Stratocaster. He was considered one of the elite rock guitarists of the late 1960s along Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, and Jimi Hendrix. Jeff won 8 Grammy Awards and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, first with the Yardbirds in 1992 and again as a solo artist in 2009. He was ranked 5th in Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. He played with a diverse array of vocalists, including Luciano Pavarotti, Macy Gray, Chrissie Hynde, Joss Stone, Imelda May, Cyndi Lauper, and Buddy Guy. He recorded 2 albums with Rod Stewart in 1968 and 1969 and went on to record an album with a 64-piece orchestra. Among his career highlights, Jeff joined with bassist Tim Bogert and drummer Carmine Appice to form a rock supergroup and power trio called Beck, Bogert, and Appice and went on tours in 1972. In 2011, Jeff was honored with honorary degrees from 2 British universities, with the University of the Arts London acknowledging his exceptional contributions to the music industry. He began working with Johnny musically in 2020 with a cover of John Lennon's Isolation, which was released in April during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. Jeff continued his collaboration with Johnny even as the actor was embroiled in a major defamation case against his ex-wife Amber Heard. In July 2022, the two released the album 18 and subsequently went on a North American tour after the trial ended in Depp's favor. What do you think of Johnny Depp and Jeff Beck's friendship? Should Johnny continue making music? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Stay tuned for more interesting videos. Are you not entertained? If you are, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.